Hey guys, welcome to the video on Bharat in Germany. My name is Bharat, and in this video, we have a very special guest from us who is Ankur from Iceland, and he's working in the Indian consulate there. So that is also like very interesting that you will be able to get all of this information about studying in Iceland, living in Iceland, and the job opportunities and so on from somebody who is like, working in an official body there. So, Ankur, thank you so much for joining us for this call. Tell us a bit about yourself, and then we jump into the themes.
You're welcome, Bharat. Thank you so much for calling me. And so guys, my name is Ankur Kumar, and I'm currently posted in the Embassy of India in Iceland. And before joining the Embassy of India in Iceland, I was working for the Embassy of India in Croatia for 3 years. So this is my second assignment for the government of India. And I've completed 2 years in Iceland and one more to go. My experience in Iceland has been great so far.
Yes, that's pretty nice. So to start with the questions, Ankur. I've heard that Iceland like sometimes can have crazy weather. So like in winter, of course, it's like very cold, and like you can sometimes also see some kind of like higher tidal waves, like and a lot of
Yes.
like fog. So what is your experience so far? What kind of things have you seen?
Iceland has those gale winds, which can be very harsh, especially in winters. And the weather is really unpredictable. Like if you see the sun and you go out, like, okay, you will enjoy the sun, and in 10 minutes it will disappear. So it's like that. Yeah. I mean, and right now it's 24 hours of daylight. Like, I
Wow.
mean, July is the hottest month. July and August are the hottest months in Iceland. And yeah, from mid November to January, these are the darkest, like only 3 to 4 hours of daylight. So January is considered as the darkest month in Iceland.
Mhm.
And but of course, like you can see those, those northern lights.
Yes, everybody. I
So
think every Indian is a huge fan of it. Everybody has put
yeah.
one time
So
in their life as wallpapers.
yeah. So for our viewers, like I can what is the science behind northern lights is that, like, it appears because of the gaseous particles in our earth atmosphere when they collide with the charged particles of the, you know uh, released from the sun's atmosphere. Then it becomes visible. Yeah.
Mhm.
So for northern lights, I think autumn and winter months are the best.
Mhm.
But right now it's like, of course, it's 24 hours of daylight, so it's not possible to see those.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I think this massive difference of day and night is something that we essentially don't know from India. We know, like, of course, that in winters, the sun goes down at 5 or something. And,
Yeah.
like, it's never so dramatic like in Europe. So I think, like, you've lived in Croatia, you must have like felt something like not similar. Like, I think Iceland, Denmark, like, Sweden, Norway, and so on. Like, these are definitely higher up on the longitude. So of course, like, you feel latitude, right? Yeah, latitude. So of
Yeah.
course you feel like more difference in day and night. Like we saw the same in Germany. And think right now we're in Denmark. We live on a small island here, and like we see that like sun like used to like come up at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like
Yeah.
3:30, like, and then it would set at like 11:30, and we were like how are we supposed to sleep? Like when I came to
Yes.
Europe the first few weeks, I came in summer and I couldn't sleep because like it was just like day essentially the entire time. So
Yeah.
it's definitely getting used to.
I mean, 2 years ago when I came to Iceland for the first time, like I came in May, like when it,
Yeah.
like, the sun is on the peak and it's 24 hours of daylight, and I was not able to sleep. Like, and there were not even those black shutters. Like people have those black shutters in their houses,
Yeah.
you know. So it was very difficult for me. So I had to cope with it, like for I think 1 month
Hmm, hmm.
to be able to sleep nicely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But now I'm used to it. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Um, Now, so as an Indian, like you must have also like spent some time in India. Like, what are the biggest, let's say, cultural differences that you feel in Iceland versus in India? Like, are there some that you feel like, okay, this was definitely very different than what I experienced previously?
Well, I'm not seeing people here. That's the thing. So, like, the population of Iceland is 370,000. So that much of people are living in my locality in Delhi.
Yeah.
So that is the major difference. Like, you have to actually search for people here, and the center, like downtown, is so small. And I came from Croatia, which is actually, like, at least the population of Croatia was 4.2 million. So it was a drastic change, especially like seeing people, and that affected me. Like, that was a major shock for me. The weather is unpredictable, so there are no outside events
Mm-hmm.
basically. So everything is indoor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, because of this COVID pandemic, like 1.5 years have been, so I was not able to see
Mm-hmm.
the cultural thing here.
Okay. And are there a lot of like Indians living there? Have you seen like, let's say in Independence Day functions or Yoga Day and things like that? A lot of people join in, or like what are the stats?
Approximately 350 Indians are living here. Like,
Okay.
those includes both like NRIs and those persons of Indian origin.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there is not much of a gathering of Indians here. Like, even on our national days, like hardly 30 to 40 people are coming,
Okay.
because sometimes it falls on weekday, and so people are not able to come. But yeah, like, but it's still more than Croatia. Like when I joined in Croatia, like there were like 200 people, I mean Indian people. And here, but it's like, they are separated. Like most of them are living in north of Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sometimes become impossible to come for them to join the national event.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Ankur, can you tell us a bit more about the education system in Iceland? So, like, how do the universities function, like, and like the fees and stuff, if you know anything about it?
Yeah, so Iceland has 7 universities, and several Indians are pursuing their education here. Mostly are PhD students, and most of the universities and colleges have extensive information on their website, and where the admission procedure and courses details are described.
Mm-hmm.
And an applicant from India must have completed 1 year of studies at university level. The fee for international and primary school uh, for a year costs around $5,000, which comes to, let's say, in Indian currency, 350,000 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So mostly they follow the American schooling.
I mean, like you said, there are like more, let's say, Indians coming for essentially, PhD and stuff, because most probably like you get some grants and stuff for PhD. But for masters and bachelors, I think like many people would be like, okay, like this is like still a lot of money. But when you
Hmm.
talk about the opportunities in Iceland, like essentially, I personally, like from an outside perspective, think that there are not so many. What is
Not,
your?
no, it's really minimal. And when I'm talking about those PhD students, like they actually, I spoke to one of them, and they said like they applied through scholarships. So
Mhm.
there are scholarships also and exchange programs at master level.
About the opportunities, you said like there are like not so many. So have you seen like many people essentially like like talk about going back to India or something, or like do they try to find jobs somewhere else? Like what is the general way that people find jobs?
Mostly people I've been in touch with, like they finished their education here, and then they travel to Germany, Belgium. So not to India, but to the European countries.
Okay.
And also it applies to the jobs also, like people who have finished their job 1 or 2 years, then they got better opportunities in Europe.
So again, like it's a stretch, but Ankur, like, do you also see that like Iceland, like the native Icelandic people, like kind of like leaving Iceland to like work somewhere else, or is it like not so much of a thing? Because I tell you, in Eastern European countries, for example, Bulgaria, it has the highest declining population in the entire European Union because they
I
don't have a
know.
lot of, yeah.
Now, it's not the case with Iceland. I think they have very good salary here. Average income
Okay.
is around $5,000.
Okay.
So they're pretty good. Like
That's
they're pretty happy.
Okay, that's very nice. I mean, like that's the pretty nice thing that you hear about all of these, like Scandinavian countries, that they're like
Yes.
essentially happier people. But have you also like seen the income tax or like the social contributions or something that like the people have to pay in Iceland?
Yes, I think I'm not so knowledgeable. Like I don't have that much of information, but
Hmm.
yes, they are giving like I think 40% of their salary for the social security something. So
Yeah.
there is that, but I think automatically that comes to them. I'm not sure about that, but
Hmm.
I need to study about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, like, if their gross salary, like from their gross salary, 40% is being deducted. 40-45%. Yeah,
I see the
too
same in
much.
Denmark. So for
It's too
example,
much.
in Germany, the salary, like the taxation, people are just always scared that, oh, like in Germany you have to pay 45% tax. But like what people don't understand is like in Germany you pay 45% tax after you have started earning 274,000 euros per year. So like only on
Yeah.
the money above that you have to pay
Yes, yes, yes,
45% tax.
yeah,
So I mean, I personally like lived in Germany. I'm living in Denmark right now. I lived in Romania. So we have seen the taxation system of all of these countries.
yeah,
And like I still personally find that like the German taxation system is pretty fair, like when you especially think of how much like things you get. So free education and free schooling, the kindergartens are most of the times free. If you have a child, you get support for every single child that you're having, and I think that's pretty much standard in most of the northern European countries.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in Denmark, I also see 56% taxes essentially. So we are having
Huge.
like this if you're earning above 150,000 euros per year. And
Okay.
I'm like, why would you pay more than more than the money that you're like earning, essentially more than the half? Like, why? What's the sense of it? But
Denmark is also Nordic, so I think the most of the rules apply to these
yeah,
Nordic countries. Like my friend is living in Sweden, so like I heard like it's the same. Like they are
yeah,
following the same Swedish Nordic procedures.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
is the VAT like also 25% there, Ankur, or like, do you have any idea?
It depends. Like I think on groceries it's like 12%, and on gadgets, if you're buying some gadgets, it's like 20%. I think
Okay,
20%.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, essentially, like this is also interesting. I mean, like in Nordic countries, you generally see the taxes and stuff like to be very high. I mean, I see that like for example, many of them have a reason because a lot of their territory is connected by like islands. So like they need to run ferries between it, and like many of these ferries which are run by the private companies, they are subsidized by the government so that they can also run during the seasons when
mm,
like not many people are going around. So for example, here we live on this island, it's called Aero, and we have to take a ferry from the mainland, Finshaf, and like it takes around 1 hour to like come to the island and go back. So
okay.
sometimes like in winters you see there's absolutely like very rarely like one or two people would be on the ferry, but still the entire ferry is moving from one place to the other so that like they can transport the people, and like many of the tax money is then like also spent in subsidizing all of these costs. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's definitely very interesting. And anything else, Ankur, that like kind of comes to your mind that you feel like it's definitely very different in Iceland than you saw in like many other countries.
Yeah, we can talk about how expensive is
Sure,
Iceland.
of course.
So yeah, I mean, for our viewers, like I would like to say in simple wordings, like Iceland, if you compare with India, of course, like Iceland is 5 times expensive than India
Hmm.
when it comes to like groceries, rent and utilities and eating out and everything. And public transportation is also very expensive. Like they have only buses and taxis. They don't have rails, neither rails nor metros, etc. And taxis are like efficient and secure, but like really expensive. And 4 kilometer journey would cost around like 1500 rupees
Hmm.
in Indian currency. Like, and yeah, and renting an accommodation, like which includes one bedroom, one living room, kitchen and bathroom, would cost around $1,500 per month. So it comes around let's say 1 lakh rupees per month.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's definitely crazy. And I mean, like, I also use this website. It's called numbeo.com. And
Yeah.
I think like this website kind of like compares different kind of cities. So for example, here you see that it
Mm.
says that if you compare like Berlin and whatever this is called,
Reykjavik.
yeah,
The J is yeah, yeah.
yes. So I mean, like you see that the consumer prices in Berlin essentially are lower than like what you see in Iceland, and this is something like standard that I see everywhere, Ankur. Like I have been like, let's say we are in Denmark right now, and we see that when we were living in Germany, we were paying essentially less amount. We were paying like almost 50% less for the exact same things that we are paying right now for in Denmark. Our grocery prices. So for example, we were spending around 300 euros, 400 euros in Germany for two people. And when we were living in Hamburg, in Denmark, we are paying 700 to 800 euros. And I'm like, how is it possible? Like, how can the cost be almost double? So in Scandinavian countries, you also have to keep in mind that like the standard like VAT and stuff, like that's also like almost 25%. So you have to keep in mind that these things also like increase the prices. Most of the things have to be imported from outside countries because
Yeah.
not many things are grown in the countries themselves. So these countries are especially like, more expensive than the other ones.
That applies to Iceland. Like almost everything is imported, mostly from UK, all those Nordic countries. So yeah.
I think talking about tourism, Ankur, did you have the opportunity of going around a bit in Iceland? Is it let's say, a lot of places to see, or what is your experience so far with that?
Yes, I've been traveling a lot, and for the last 2 years, I almost covered most of the parts of Iceland. Like only the eastern part is pending, which I will be covering this year most probably.
Hmm.
And I mean, in Iceland, if you're living in Iceland, you really have to don't have you cannot plan. Like if you're thinking of like the weather will be good and you have to go out then, because the weather can change like in a flash. And so yeah, whenever you have time, you just go out. And yes, Iceland, if you are fond of traveling and if you are to visit Iceland, then Iceland has some really uh, like geysers, hot springs, numerous waterfalls. It's a country of waterfalls and glaciers in stock for you.
Hmm.
And it's just like you have to wear good clothing, definitely a sweater always, and one layer of jacket, and to experience the Iceland better.
Hmm.
And for our viewers who would like to visit Iceland for the first time, I would recommend them to visit in the months of like July to August. Like there's 24 hours of daylight, and there are chances like they can explore Iceland more. And also they might get lucky to see the northern lights when it like in mid of August or end of like mid of September. Because first time when I saw the northern lights, I saw from my balcony.
Hmm.
and and it was a great view. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I remember at the time when I was like, I don't 16, 17 or something.
Hmm.
Of course, like you come across this like image from some website, some travel website or travel blog or something, and then you read
Yeah.
more about it, and then you always like wish to like see it sometime in your life. So I think like we haven't done it yet. It's also in my mind to like kind of like take a look at that. Our idea was to most probably go towards like Sweden and stuff and like take a look, but
Yeah.
I think it's very beautiful. Perfect. To wrap it up, Ankur, like, do you have some final tips or experiences that you want to like share? Like anything else that comes to your mind?
Well, I would just conclude like people are coming to Iceland like as a tourist, basically like Indians.
Mhm.
So so preparation is very important. Like like the whole trip can suffer like if you're not used to the Icelandic climate.
Mhm.
So just be prepared for the last minute Dolan drums.
Yes.
And yeah, and the land of ice and fire awaits you.
Yes. Thank you so much for the nice call, Ankur. It was very nice to catch up with you.
Yeah,
And
thank you so much.
I'll see you around. Bye.